Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So we have a couple new updates. I want to read you Lori's affidavit. I'm not going to read the whole thing because a lot of it is just a repeat of what's in Chad's, but I'm going to read you the parts where it's different and stuff that has been added compared to Chad's. But first of all, I want to apologize, or I want to say I feel like the stupidest person ever. Okay, so about the dismemberment thing. I was wrong. It does say dismembered in this new affidavit, but I was reading the emails before this even came out. I was reading the emails last night, and I even texted Kayla. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm using the word dismembered differently than what the other people are thinking, and I'm stupid to assume that everybody was using it the way I was thinking. And I think the reason that I was thinking you guys meant one thing about dismembered because of everybody talking about them chopping her up in pieces. So I was thinking when we were using dismembered that it meant that you guys were saying that it was an affidavit that she was chopped up into pieces, like using a knife, like cut up. And that's not, I guess that's not. Dismembered is just if she was in pieces, which if you would hear if you hear what I say in them, I agree that she was in pieces. She was found in two different spots. I mean, her bones were spread out in two different spots. So I said that. So obviously I knew she was in pieces, but I was thinking, I didn't look at that as dismembered. I was looking at that as just possibly dismembered, but it didn't say that. It just said she was in different pieces. So I thought maybe they tried to burn her. And like me and Randy were talking about in the live, that maybe from burning her, she became into pieces and then they kind of buried her separate. I don't know. All I know is in the affidavit, and still in this affidavit, it does not say that the bones were cut or anything. It says charred. So I guess I was wrong about the way I was using dismembered. I was wrong about that because I was reusing it like it had to mean that she was cut up, and that's not true. So I was basically saying the same thing, but I was saying no, she wasn't dismembered, but I was saying she was in pieces. So you guys are probably like, what is this lady talking about? You're saying that she's in pieces, yet you're saying she's not dismembered. It was just one of those stupid moments for me. I'm sure, and I know a lot of you guys have probably had it where you're not thinking right, and you say this, you're just thinking of it all wrong, and you say the stupidest thing. Like, I was thinking so stupid. And so I'm sorry, guys. I feel like so silly right now that I didn't even think that. But she very well could have been cut. It just doesn't show right now. All it says is charred bones. So, but I guess it doesn't necessarily mean cut. Dismembered, you could be dismembered in many ways. Maybe not many ways, but in different ways, and I do feel silly. I apologize. Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll see. I don't know if the bones are in too bad of shape. After I read this affidavit, you'll see they're in such bad shape that I mean, you think they would still be able to tell if it was cut, if she was stabbed, if it was cut. You know, they could tell if somebody stabbed because of the knife will go into the bones, and if somebody would try to dismember by cutting, I mean, they would hit the bone, so there would be like cuts in the bone. So they haven't mentioned anything like that yet. They say charred, which means burned. So I guess we'll find out maybe. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be more in depth, or they just, that's all they're going to say is charred and dismembered. So we don't know. I don't know. But yeah, definitely, like we were saying, me and Randy were saying, I think she was burned, and when they tried to burn her, she became into some couple different pieces, and then they buried her kind of in separate spots. Possibly. Randy more feels like, I think he thinks more like they tried to burn her, they buried her in one spot, and then they ended up getting nervous and unburying her and then burying her in another spot where they left some behind in the other spot. So I don't know which is which. I don't even know if either of us are right, but I guess we will find out. Maybe we'll find out. But I do apologize. I was wrong. I was using that term only in one way when it's very broad term. So okay, so let's get to the affidavit. So they did release the new Lori affidavit, but like I said, most of it is a repeat of all the same stuff in the chat, but I tried to pick out some of the stuff that was added, so hopefully I don't miss anything, and I might repeat a few of the things just because it goes into the added stuff, like you have to kind of say the paragraph before so it makes sense. And also, I do want to clear up my video last night about the charges. I don't watch Scott Reich, so I know a lot of you guys watch Scott Reich, so I didn't watch his video, but I did watch Court TV, and she did say that, so I don't know who's wrong, either Scott or the lady from Court TV, but she made it seem like the charges would be, this was so important to get these new charges because those other charges don't pertain anymore since they found the kids. I'm not a law expert. I'm not that knowledgeable in law, so I have no idea who's right. I'm just going by what I figure. I thought I could trust the lady on Court TV. They have a good history and a good, it just seemed like a credible source, so I just thought I could trust what she was saying, so I don't know. I mean, who's to say that she's right and Scott's wrong? I have no idea. I just went by what she said, but I guess it's not important. The important thing is they got her on some charges. So, but I do apologize. Like I said, I don't know who's right on that. I just kind of trusted what she said and used it as kind of a source, like a credible source. Okay, so let's get into this affidavit. So I'm going to start at paragraph 12, okay? I'm going to start there because everything before that is just the same as the Chad Daybell affidavit. But this part addresses that Melanie Gibb thing we were talking about who called who. So I'm going to start there. So paragraph 12, it says, on the same day, myself and Detective Stubbs located and spoke with Vallow in her apartment number 175. We identified ourselves as RPD officers. Vallow told us that JJ was in Gilbert, Arizona with a friend named Melanie Gibb. We obtained Gibb's phone number from Vallow. This encounter was recorded on body cam. We ended our contact with Vallow and immediately attempted to call Gibb. We were unable to contact or speak with her at that time. Vallow also informed RPD that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho and living with Vallow. Because Detective Stubbs and I were unable to contact Gibb, we immediately contacted Vallow again, and we requested that she call Gibb. At this time, Vallow told us that Gibb and JJ were at the movie Frozen 2, so it was unlikely Gibb would answer the phone. We instructed Vallow to call Gibb and have Gibb contact us so we could verify the location of JJ. By the evening of November 26, 2019, we still had not heard from Gibb. So RPD informed Detective Ryan Pillar of the Gilbert Police Department of the information we had received regarding the children being with Gibb. Detective Hermosillo was informed later that evening around 9:30 p.m. that Gilbert Police went to the home of Gibb. Gibb was not home, but Detective Pillar contacted her by phone and she stated that JJ was not staying at her Arizona house and had not been there for several months. So they did call her. She didn't answer. They told Lori to call Melanie, to tell Melanie to call the police. And we know that, remember, supposedly Lori called Melanie and told her to, say that they're at Frozen 2 and take a picture of the kids and, say you have JJ. So that's, I'm sure, what she said on that phone call. And then Chad called her and said, if the cops call, don't answer. Well, I guess Melanie said that Chad is the one that called her first about if the cops call, don't answer. And then Melanie called her after. I'm pretty sure is the order as far as what Melanie says. So she didn't answer originally. But then they went to her house, right? So she wasn't home, which is fine because did she know they were coming? No, probably not. Who knows? But then when they did call her back, she answered. So later on that night, she did answer. So it wasn't a full day. But the thing I kind of have an issue with is it says it wasn't until December 6th, this next paragraph, it says on December 6th, 2019, Detective Hermosillo was contacted by Gibb and she informed us that both Daybell and Vallow called Gibb on November 26, 2019 at separate times. She was contacted first by Daybell, who told her that she would probably be contacted by the police in regards to JJ's location, and then he asked her not to answer the call. Gibb informed RPD that she was confused by this request because she had been told by Vallow in late September or early October that JJ was living with Kay Woodcock, who is JJ's grandmother. Gibb asked Daybell if JJ was living with Kay, and he told her that JJ was not with Kay. So I guess for this one, it makes you wonder, why did she wait a week to tell him about Chad and them calling her that day? Like, wonder why she didn't tell him that day when the cops finally did get a hold of her on the 26th. Why didn't she tell him then that Chad and Lori called and told him to lie and all that stuff? But she waited a week. But, I mean, who's to say what we would do in a situation like that? Maybe she was scared and she just, she just had to have time to think, like, what should I do? I don't know. I know that's not the best choice. I'm saying she should have called. She should have told him right then, but maybe she got scared, and in the moment she probably realizes now that, shoot, she should have called, or she should have told him at that day, but she didn't. I mean, she can't go back and change that, so I think she does realize that she screwed up there, but she probably was scared. I know that's not an excuse, but she shouldn't have waited a whole week to tell him that, but at least she did eventually could tell them. Like I said, I think she realizes she screwed up. She's just trying to do the right thing now, but I know it's not an excuse, guys. Like, we all wish she would have came forward and told them that then, but she didn't. So, and I'm not sticking up for her. The one live, I got a bunch of comments talking about basically how mean I was about Melanie Gibb, and then another video is like, oh my god, that I was too nice about Melanie Gibb. I'm just trying to stay neutral and kind of look at it from all angles, so I'm not sticking up for her. I'm not saying she did the right thing. I'm just trying to look at it objectively. So yeah, I've been calling out all the bad things that she did, all the bad choices that she made. I've called all those out, so I'm allowed to call out all the good things that she possibly could do for this case, which she does have some power that she can do some good for the case by making the case stronger against Chad and Lori by stuff she knows. So I'm allowed to point that side out too, that she's helping the prosecution now. She could be an important witness in this trial. So let's hope that she comes through and actually helps at least get justice for JJ and Tylee by testifying and telling what she knows. So it could possibly help. I mean, she is kind of a key witness, I feel like, in getting these two monsters put away. So I know it doesn't make up for their lives, but at least she's doing what she can now, and I feel like she will be kind of an important part to get these two. So it's just see how it all plays out and see what she does. And I don't know, I guess it's all we could do now. And like I said, I still want to know when that conversation with Alex took place where she asked about the kids, or she asked about where JJ was, and Alex said, "You don't even want to know." That would be very interesting to know when that happened. If it was after she talked to the cops the first time, or did she tell the cops that right away, or when that took place. Okay, so let me continue here. It says, Gibb was soon thereafter contacted by Vallow on her phone. Vallow asked Gibb to tell the police that she had JJ and asked Gibb to tell the police that she had taken JJ to the movie Frozen 2. Vallow further asked Gibb to take a picture of some children in a manner that would make it appear that Gibb had JJ with her and to send that picture to the police. Gibb informed Vallow that she would not lie to the police, and Gibb did not comply with Vallow's request. Gibb first met Vallow in the fall of 2018. Gibb introduced Vallow to Daybell in St. George, Utah at Preparing a People conference. In early 2019, Gibb was present with Vallow during a telephone conversation between Vallow and Daybell. This conversation was in response to a vision of Vallow that her husband Charles Vallow and her son JJ were going to die in a car accident by January 1st. Wait, see, I didn't know. Did she say JJ in the interview? In the interview with Nate, I only remember her saying that the vision said that Charles was going to die in a car accident. Did she say that JJ was going to die in a car accident too in that interview? Let me know. Maybe I just didn't hear that part. I remember hearing her say that Lori said that Charles was going to die in a car accident. This says that she said that Lori said that Charles and her son JJ were going to both die in the car accident by January 1st. Okay, I figured I'd let you hear a couple of rings on my landline because a lot of people get a kick out of that. They're like, you got a landline. I normally would have edited that out, but okay, so let me continue. So it says, yeah, they're going to die in a car accident by January 1st or 2nd of 2019, which did not happen. During and after the conversation, Vallow told Gibb that Daybell had informed her that while Charles had not physically died in an accident, his spirit had left his body and been replaced by another spirit, which was a dark spirit. The dark spirit was named Ned Snyder. Gibb has informed law enforcement that the word zombie was introduced weeks after the initial conversation to describe an individual whose spirit has left their body and been replaced by another spirit. A new spirit inhabiting a person's or zombie's body was always a dark spirit. At some point after Gibb first learned this doctrine from Vallow and Daybell, she was informed by Vallow and Daybell that they believed it was their mission to rid the world of zombies. When Vallow initially spoke to Gibb about getting rid of zombies, she spoke about saying prayers to remove dark spirits from the human bodies they inhabited. This information has been corroborated by electronic communications made by Vallow and Daybell. After the death of Daybell's wife on October 19, 2019, Gibb was informed by Vallow that when a person became a zombie, their original spirit left their body and entered limbo and is trapped and cannot progress to paradise. Vallow then informed Gibb that for the person's original spirit to be freed from limbo, the person's physical body had to die. Despite the teaching that a physical body needed to die, Gibb reported she was never told by Vallow or Daybell that they planned to carry out a physical killing themselves. At the time Gibb was told this information by Vallow, she was still under the belief that JJ was with his grandma Kay Woodcock and that Tylee was at BYU, Idaho. Melanie Gibb has further informed RPD that sometime in the spring of 2019, before the death of Charles Vallow, that Lori Vallow called Tylee a zombie. Gibb was on the phone with Lori and heard Lori call Tylee a zombie, to which Tylee responded, "Not me, Mom." Upon the unsealing of my probable cause affidavit in State versus Daybell, Gibb spoke with me and clarified that Lori herself told Gibb that Tylee responded to being called a zombie by saying, "Not me, Mom." Gibb did not hear Tylee say these words herself. This arose out of Lori requiring Tylee to babysit JJ, and Tylee did not want to. Lori Vallow also told Gibb that Tylee had turned into a zombie when she was 12 or 13, which was approximately the same time Tylee had become difficult to deal with. Okay, I'm going to skip a couple paragraphs here. Okay, so I'm going to skip to paragraph 37. It says, on June 3rd, 2020, I again interviewed Gibb and her boyfriend David Warwick in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We discussed in depth the weekend of September 22nd and 23rd, 2019, due to the fact that both Gibb and Warwick stayed at Lori Vallow's residence in Rexburg that weekend. Gibb informed me, consistent with information she has previously given to law enforcement, that she arrived in Rexburg on September 19th, 2019. Soon after she arrived, Lori Vallow informed Gibb that JJ had become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still and watching TV, claiming JJ said he loved Satan in an increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ was now a zombie. Gibb observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as she had always observed it. The last time Gibb and Warwick verifiably saw JJ was the night of September 22nd, 2019. Warwick informed us that it was late and that Gibb, Vallow, and Warwick were going to do a podcast. Warwick said that Vallow told him that JJ was acting up, and so Cox took JJ to his apartment in the complex. When Cox returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep with his head on Cox's shoulder. Warwick specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. Warwick informed us that when he woke up the morning September 23rd, 2019, he asked Vallow where JJ was. This was between 8 and 9 a.m. Vallow informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been acting like a zombie and had been crawling on the kitchen cabinetry and gotten on top of the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. She informed Warwick and Gibb that when JJ climbed upon the cabinetry that he knocked a picture of Jesus off the refrigerator. Vallow then informed Warwick and Gibb that Cox had come and taken JJ. At no time during this interaction with Vallow did Gibb or Warwick believe that JJ was in danger. Vallow had not said anything about harming JJ or having Cox harm JJ. Approximately 1 week after Gibb's September visit to Rexburg, Vallow informed Gibb that she had arranged for JJ to go live with his grandma, Kay Woodcock. Vallow further told Gibb that she had told Kay that she had cancer in order to convince Kay Woodcock to take JJ. Vallow further elaborated to Gibb that she had traveled with JJ and handed him off to Kay in an airport. But wait, what about Melanie Gibb said that Lori told her that Kay was trying to kidnap JJ? So how does that make sense? She had to lie to Kay and tell her that she had cancer to convince her to take JJ? It's something completely different than she was trying to kidnap JJ. That doesn't even make sense. So if Lori indeed did say both of those to Melanie Gibb, why wouldn't that have raised a little alarm wait, both of those can't be true, red flag here, something's wrong. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, guys. Why would she want to kidnap somebody if you have to actually convince them to take them? And obviously she's not going to kidnap them, because if she wanted to kidnap them, then you wouldn't have to convince her to take them by saying you have cancer, because she would want him that bad that she wanted to kidnap him. So you see, I feel like those two statements contradict each other. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that should have raised an alarm right there in Melanie's head. Okay, so I'm going to skip some more around here. Okay, so some of this seems like it's the same stuff, but there's little details that are added within these paragraphs a little bit. So I'm going to read you some of them. So even though at first I was like, wait, that was in Chad's affidavit, but there is little specific details that they added. So let me read you. Okay, so it says the first site of interest was located on the north side of the pond near the edge of the property. The site corresponded with the 2 GPS pings from Alex Cox's phone on September 23rd, 2019. A patch of ground was located that appeared to be disturbed. The weed growth on top of the disturbed ground was shorter than the surrounding weed growth. What appeared to be sod etching was also noticed. The disturbed area was approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet. Members of the FBI ERT team removed the top layer of sod. Underneath the layer of sod were several large flat rocks. The rocks were removed and 2 pieces of flat paneling were found. The paneling was removed and investigators exposed a round object covered in black plastic. Similar paneling was found in a barn location on the property. Okay, so they talk about finding JJ. So they find JJ, right? And then, okay, so they add a little part in paragraph 50, so I want to read this for you. It says, as noted above, the GPS on Alex Cox's phone pinged twice on September 23rd, 2019, near the first site where human remains were found. The GPS records indicate that Cox was at the location for a total of 17 minutes on September 23rd, 2019. Due to the depth and width of the grave the body was located in, and the rocks and paneling found in the grave, it would be impossible for one person to have dug that grave, placed a body in it, placed the rocks and paneling in the grave, and covered it back up in 17 minutes. So that's a good thing they point out in case Chad and Lori try to place all the blame on Alex and say, well, he did it all. They could say, well, no, there's no way he could have dug the grave and buried her all himself in 17 minutes, and he was only there for 17 minutes. So that's a good piece of evidence right there. And then the fact that Chad sent Tammy that text about burning the debris and shooting the raccoon and burying the raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes after Alex left. So if that doesn't put him at the scene of the crime too, then I mean, I'm pretty sure the jury will agree on a lot of this stuff. I mean, they have a lot of things to prove at least that Chad was there. Now hopefully they have enough to prove that Lori was there too. That's what I'm hoping and wondering what they found on that second search warrant. Well, it had been the third search warrant because they had one in January and then one in June, and then they went back yesterday. So makes me wonder, hopefully they found something that would put Lori there. Now that's just where they bury them. We don't know where they were killed. In my opinion, I think maybe Ty Lee was killed at Chad's, that maybe Alex shot Ty Lee, and JJ was killed at Alex's or Lori's. So in that complex, like in Lori and Alex's apartment complex, or somewhere maybe not at Chad's property, and then Alex just brought him there and he was already deceased, and maybe Ty Lee was done there. I'm not sure though. I guess we'll find out. That's just, I don't know why I keep thinking that, because he says that he shot the raccoon, so I'm thinking maybe he was using that as an excuse for a gunshot too. I know that text was definitely an excuse for him having the bonfire, burning the debris, and then also him, the disturbed dirt, and if anybody says they seen him out there digging or whatever, plus the disturbed dirt, then that could account for that. But it also could be because there was a gunshot too. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I guess we'll find out. What do you guys think? Do you think Ty Lee was killed there? Do you think she was shot? Or what do you think? I don't know why I think she was and then JJ wasn't. But yeah, let me know. I'd be interested to see what you guys think on that. A second site of interest was located behind a red unattached outbuilding located roughly in the center of the property near a fire pit. Next to the fire pit is an area used as a pet cemetery. This site correlated to several GPS pings of Alex Cox's phone on September 9, 2019. Ground in this area was probed with a steel pole, and several areas of disturbed ground were located. During a search of this ground, a buried cat and dog remains were found. No raccoon remains were located. A backhoe was used to dig further layers of dirt. While doing this, bricks were located approximately a foot below the ground. So it says, once the bricks were discovered, the soil was examined and what happened to be 2 bones were located. Based on the condition of the first bones found, Cheryl Anderson was not able to determine whether the bones were human. Methodically, the dirt in this area was searched and several other items of interest were found, including other bones, charred tissue, and charred bones. Cheryl Anderson indicated these additional bones, both charred and uncharred, and tissue found were human remains. Investigators provided photos of some of the partial remains that were found at the pet cemetery to Sarah Getz, PhD, a forensic anthropologist. Dr. Getz was able to identify those remains as being non-adult human remains. So then it talks about how Chad was observed leaving his daughter's residence in a gray SUV, and how the officers pursued him in police vehicles and basically conducted a traffic stop and detained him due to the fact of the remains being discovered. So that's the same. And then, so on June 11th, 2020, I observed the autopsy of the body described in paragraphs 44 to 50. The body had not yet been removed from the plastic covering it was found in. As the body was uncovered and the face exposed, so there you go. He was not decapitated, because talking about the body and the face all together. So yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just tricky. I understand why people were thinking that, but once you reread it, you're like, oh, okay. Because I did the same thing. Like I said, I had to edit that part out because I was like, wait a minute. He wasn't decapitated. So yeah, this clears that up. So it says, as the body was uncovered and the face exposed, it was clear to me that this was the body of J.J. Vallow. The body was well preserved. While I had never met J.J. Vallow during his life, I was familiar with his face due to seeing many pictures and videos of him. I was further familiar with his haircut in the pictures I had seen of him in Yellowstone, which was shaved on the sides and back and longer on top. J.J. was further identified by Brandon Boudreau, who was shown an autopsy photograph of the body and face and was able to verify the remains were J.J. Wow, can you imagine having to do that? I would not be able to. If I had somebody else that would do it, I would. If I had to verify it and I was the only one, I would do it. But if I had somebody else that could do it, I would. I would not. Oh, can you imagine having that picture in your head the rest of your life of him? Oh, man. On June 11, 2020, I also observed the autopsy of the human remains described in paragraphs 51 to 55. It was not possible to identify these remains by simply looking at them, as they were too damaged by fire and dismemberment and no longer had any recognizable features. So yeah, dismemberment. Silly me, I should have looked up the definition of dismemberment and realized it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody had to use a knife. But we don't know. I mean, maybe somebody did, but I kept thinking you guys were saying that it was in the affidavit that, you know, you knew that she was cut up. And I was like, she might have been, but it doesn't say anything about cut. I'll quit going on about this, but yeah, I feel really stupid though. You guys had to have thought I was crazy because I'm sitting there saying how, yeah, she was in pieces, but no, she wasn't dismembered. You guys are probably like, what is this person talking about? You're saying that she's in pieces. You're saying that she's dismembered. You're not making sense. So I apologize. I hope I didn't lose some of y'all. So anyway, however, Dr. Glenn Smith, an orthodontist and deputy coroner in the Ada County Coroner's Office, was able to identify these remains as belonging to Tylee Ryan by matching an irregular jawline with an x-ray of Tylee when she was alive. Despite identifying Tylee, law enforcement was advised that it would still be wise to obtain a DNA verification. We were informed that sufficient soft tissue existed which was not burnt that we would be able to test the DNA. We are in the process of having said test performed. So I'm going to skip a couple paragraphs and go to paragraph 61. It says, due to the facts listed in this affidavit, probable cause exists that Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Alex Cox conspired to commit the crime of concealing and destroying or altering evidence they knew would be produced, used, or discovered as evidence in a trial, proceeding, inquiry, or investigation involving a felony. Chad Daybell performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. Texted Tammy Daybell and told her about burning debris and burying a dead raccoon in the pet cemetery on September 9, 2019. Deceptively acted as if he did not know Vallow very well and did not know Vallow's phone number when questioned by the Rexburg police on November 26, 2019, despite the fact they were married at that time. Alex Cox performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. Told Rexburg police on or about November 26, 2019 that JJ was with his grandma Kay Woodcock in Louisiana, transported JJ Vallow from Madison County, Idaho to Chad Daybell's property in Fremont County on September 23, 2019. Lori Vallow performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. Telephoned Melanie Gibb and asked her to lie to the police about the location of JJ, asked Gibb to create false evidence of JJ's existence and location, falsely informed the Rexburg police that JJ was in Arizona with Melanie Gibb, falsely informed the Rexburg police that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho, and living with Vallow, refused to produce the children to the Rexburg police or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare as required by a court order. So I guess, yeah, that does look like that's okay. That charge probably is still gonna be active. So maybe Scott was right on that one. Anyway, okay, so those are just the new parts that I've noticed in the affidavit so far. So let me know what you guys think, guys. But anyway, thank you guys for all your support. You guys have been so awesome. Seriously, I love you guys so much. Like, you guys don't understand how much your support means to me in trying to build this channel. And I don't know, it's just been amazing in your comments, and I don't know, just love you guys so much. Alright guys, have a good day everybody.